Okay, welcome to our final right now. The last right now in this 2-week flurry. Sorry that I've been away for the past couple days. It's been eventful. But I was really wanted to be able to just finish intentionally with you guys on these. Every day we've had the same structure but differing content and a differing theme. Today, our theme is chat. Chat. Took me a while to title this one. But I've been thinking a lot about speech and I've been thinking a lot about dialogue. Obviously, so my journey was grime MC, poet. Yes, Sadie, good morning, I love you. My journey was wheel up the sentence. Grime MC, poet, theatre maker, and now I've gone into TV. So that jump, particularly from poetry to television and theatre and drama, really makes you start thinking about speech and dialogue. Now, the best book I've ever read that helped me with dialogue is this, if you ever want to work with speech more. Writing Dialogue for Scripts by Rib Davis. So you can tell from how raggedy it is, how this is my Bible. But, I did use speech quite a lot in my poetry beforehand, and it's something you can use in all art forms. People use it in songs, and I think it's a really cool thing to think about. I particularly like the mess of chat and speech and how messy it is, how people don't finish their sentences, how slang is used and how we have slang that might belong to London, but actually the slang from South London differs from the from the slang in East London, and we develop a kind of colloquial slang that even might exist only in our families or only in our friendship groups or in a relationship between two people. How intimate that is, how there's ways of using and playing with language and speech that really just shows how close two people are. And I've become really obsessed with that. I love how people very rarely end a sentence when they're maybe in a group and having a conversation. So yeah, I just really wanted to focus on that and how speech and chat exists. So every day we've had a prompt poem. Today is the longest prompt poem, warning. But it's by Patricia Smith, who, if you know me, you'll know that Patricia is my favourite poet in the whole wide world. I just think I literally brought her to England. That's how much I love her. I found her on... this is a good tip for anyone that's obsessed with an artist. And particularly in the poetry world where someone can be quite famous but still working at a university and interacting with people every day. I just found Patricia on Twitter and was like, I'd love to get you to come to England. And yeah, fundraised and brought her here. So this is a poem by Patricia Smith called Medusa. Now, Patricia works with characters a lot. She works with speech a lot. And I think she does it really well and really knows how to inhabit a voice in a way that I think is particularly thrilling. There's a really great version of this that she performs online. But I thought it would be cool for me to challenge myself dyslexia-wise to read this to you. So we're going to listen to this poem and then we're going to do a 3-minute free write off the back of it. This is Medusa by Patricia Smith. Poseidon was easier than most. He calls himself God. But he fell beneath my fingers with more shaking than any mortal. He wept when my robe fell from my shoulders. I made him bend his back for me. Listen to his screams break like waves. We defiled the temple the way it should be defiled, screaming and bucking our way from corner to corner. The bitch goddess probably got a real kick out of that. I'm sure I'll be hearing from her. She'll give me nightmares for a week or so. That I can handle. Or she'll turn the water in my well into blood. I'll scream when I see it. And that'll be that. Maybe my first child will be born with the head of a fish. I'm not even sure if it's worth it. Poseidon pounding away at me, a madman losing his immortal mind because of the way my copper skin swells in the moonlight. Now my arms smoke and itch. Hard scales cover my wrists like armour. Come on, Athena. He was only another lay, and not a particularly good one at that, even though he can spit steam from his fingers. Won't touch him again, promise. And we didn't mean to drop to our knees in your temple, but our bodies were so hot and misaligned. It's not every day a girl gets to sample a god, you know that. Why are you being so rough on me? I feel my eyes twisting, the lids crusting over and boiling, the pupils glowing red with heat. Athena, woman to woman, could you have resisted him? Would you have been able to wait for the proper place, the right moment to jump those immortal bones? Now my feet are tangled with hair. My ears are gone. My back is curving. My lips have grown numb. My garden boy just shattered at my feet. Damn it, Athena! Take away my father's gold. Send me away to live with the lepers. Give me a pimple or two but my face. To have men never again to be able to gaze at my face. Growing stupid in anticipation of the first touch. How can any woman live like that? How will I be able to watch their warm bodies turn to rock when their only sin was to desire me? All they want to see me sweat. They only want to touch my face and run their fingers through my hair. Is it moving? So that's Medusa by Patricia Smith. Now what I love about that is just how it's like one side of a conversation, and how also she's taken a myth and like made it really contemporary in the speech style and like makes it really accessible. Also because Medusa is a character we all know, there's a kind of dramatic irony of this person not knowing what's going to happen to them, but we know what's going to happen to them, but we don't know how it's going to get there. I just love it. So we're going to do a 3-minute free write inspired by that. As always, you can take her title, Medusa, if you want to, but just make sure if you keep it or keep any formal, really obvious links to it, that you reference Patricia and the poem as an after underneath your title. But you don't have to use her title. My main prompts are, as I always say, if you've never done this before, if you've never free written before, the main thing is to just keep writing for 3 minutes and not stop. The editor side of your brain, kindly usher that out. We just want to be creative. You don't want that voice saying, that's rubbish, I don't like that, no, that's stupid, don't write that. We don't want that voice. That voice comes in later when we've got all the content out, right? So just let it all out. Shit your way to greatness, as Bogdan Piasecki says. If it's shit, then you're learning. So that's cool. Lean into that. Lean into the disruption. If you want an extra prompt other than 3 writing for 3 minutes, have a conversation at or with your reader. Try and tell them a story, and we only hear that side. Try and use as much slang that you would use as possible. Try and write how you speak, and try and be cocky with it. I like the sense of a really cocky one side of a conversation is really interesting to me. If you want to push yourself really far, why not be a character from a historical or mythical story? Be Poseidon, be Hercules, be Winston Churchill, be whatever. Be a character we all know, but be like a contemporary, slang-riddled version of them. If you're like, Deborah, what are you talking about? Just wheel it back and just try and have a one-sided conversation. Or if that's even too much, just free write for 3 minutes. If you've got any questions, now is your chance while I set up the timer. Are we good to go? Can hear how congested I still am in it. Okay, 3 minutes, starting now. Let's go. Okay. Time's up. See if more people have come in. Very good to see you all. We're going to do our 10 back-to-back speed poems or pieces now. So if you've just jumped in, it's cool. There's plenty of time for you to write. So pick up your writing utensils. Just to say, that last exercise, I loved that. That was a lot of fun. I don't know how you found it. I think often when we start writing on the page, especially me, someone that grew up, you know, in a very specific part of London, speaking a very specific kind of dialect, if you want to call it, of English, it took me a long time to feel comfortable writing in that voice. So it's cool to lean into that, because often that can be the edge of your writing, really, is the way that you speak, I think, for a lot of us. Cool. 10 poems, pieces, things, back to back, at speed. It gets I'm a bit sick in it. All my sentences are like coming in slightly different orders. This is an exercise inspired by Roger Robinson. He did a version of this exercise with me. He's done it with me many times, actually, that I've done workshops with him. He's great. Check him out. Full of great advice. The idea is we do 10 speed poems or pieces of song, pieces of prose, pieces of dialogue, up to you, back to back. I'll give you your title. You'll then have 1 minute to write 6 lines of something. Then we move on to the next one. And we do that back to back to back to back to back 10 times. Again, editor, out the room, go away, I'll be your friend later. For now, this is a generative, creative space. Be weird, be wacky, be playful. Don't worry about whether you've spelled it wrong or if it doesn't make sense or that sounds strange. Lean into all those feelings. Lean in to the disruption. Lean in to the weirdness. Shit your way to greatness. Little rhyming there. If you want to be extra snazzy, as always, link them all into each other to make one long 60-line something. Extra bonus prompts today. Continue with this use of slang, this use of conversation, maybe even a sense of defiance. I like this idea of a cocky storyteller. Talking to a friend. Maybe imagine you're talking to a friend. Do you know what is what I've written here is the extra prompt? Chat shit, innit? You know when you meet someone and you're like, this person is just chatting shit. Be that person. Go off on tangents. Just ramble. Chat shit today. Chat shit, get banged is always the phrase that comes to my head. If you're working on an existing project, which I know a lot of people in the lives are, maybe pick a character that you can be to chat shit with for these exercises and really inhabit their voice. The titles today are snippets of my own writing and also bits of research that I've been doing. Or inspired by bits of research that I've been doing. If you've got any questions, now's your chance. Just need to decide what character I'm going to be. Cool. So, your first title is Strange Dance. Strange Dance is your first title. And your 1 minute to write 6 lines of something starts now. Strange Dance. Okay, your next title is Nothing Left. Nothing Left. And your 1 minute starts now. Nothing Left. Okay, To Forget. To Forget is your next title. We've got 1 minute to write 6 lines of something with the title To Forget. Let's go. Okay, your next title is Existing in a Land. Existing in a Land is your title. You've got 1 minute to write 6 lines of something with the title Existing in a Land. Let's go. Okay. Next title is Earliest Times. Earliest Times. And your 1 minute to write 6 lines of something starts now. Earliest Times. Okay, we're halfway now. Your next title is Foundations Stolen. Foundations Stolen is your next title. You've got 1 minute to write 6 lines of something with the title Foundations Stolen. Let's go. Okay, your next title. Sorry, my body's feeling a bit mad still. Your next title is Smelled Like Old Tights. Smelled Like Old Tights. Listen, I write some crazy things. They work their way into the titles. Your next title is Smelled Like Old Tights. Your 1 minute starts now. Okay, we're getting there. Lean into the discomfort, lean into the disruption. Our next title is Hollowed Out. Hollowed Out. Your 1 minute starts now. I'm having some really interesting conversations here. Your penultimate title is His Body, a Vessel. His Body, a Vessel. I was thinking whether there should be a comma in there, but I'll leave that up to you. His Body, a Vessel is your penultimate title. As with always, if you want to change the pronoun, her body, their body, that's up to you. But I've got His Body, a Vessel. It's your penultimate title, and your 1 minute starts now. Okay, and your final title is Instead of Mine. Instead of Mine. Like, as in, instead of being yours, it's mine. Instead of Mine is your final title, and your 1 minute starts now. Okay, time is up. Time is up. Let me give you some editing homework before we take some breaths. So today, if you want to use anything from today and turn it into a poem, so I'm just crossing my legs on my desk chair, it's a bit wibbly and knocky down there. So go through everything that you've written today. Obviously, as I always say, when you're editing, think of it as a version, not a change. You're making a new version. So copy and paste everything or type everything up. Put it into a new document, so when you're cutting away from a new document, not from the original, if that makes sense. And cut everything that isn't slang or an unfinished sentence. And then try and turn that into something. Try and turn that mess into something. I really love this sense of like what is unsaid or what is cut into and what isn't, how immersive those things can be, and try and create something. If you're already working on an existing project, just a cool editing technique to think about chat is, and I think I've maybe said a version of this before, is call up or meet up with someone if you are allowed, or bubbled with them or whatever, COVID safe stuff, and tell them, so if you're writing, I know a few people are working on like novels and plays, pick like a story or a scene from the novel or the play and retell it. So don't read it, just from memory, retell it to someone that you have a good vibe with, like you can have jokes, maybe they'll intercut you or whatever. Tell them the story, record it on your phone, go home, transcribe it word for word, and just see if there's anything from that version that could kind of enliven the version that already exists in your project. Couple chat-based editing ideas there. So we take some breaths. I think I need to. So I just wanted to take 3 really diaphragm-focused breaths. This is like a little vocal exercise. So you want your feet flat on the floor. As always, we're going to go in through the nose and out of the mouth. This might be hard for me. And I want you to put your hands on your diaphragm, which is like here, the bottom of your stomach. Really, we want to try and inhale our air into this space. You don't want the air to come up into your chest. You want it to be coming down into your diaphragm. So we're going to really focus on relaxing and filling that part of our bodies. And on the exhale, we're going to make a shh sound. Yeah? We're going to do 4 of those. We're going to go in and out. In. One more. Ooh. Thank you so much for joining me today and for joining me for any amount of these right nows that you have. I've written so much, and if you haven't gone through everything you've written from these, I really encourage you to do that. I'm always surprising myself with the amount of usable material that comes out of these. Sometimes it's a whole poem, sometimes it's an idea, sometimes it's a sentence. I really encourage you to organise the material that's come out of this and think about what current projects it could contribute to, but also future stuff. Also, if you don't want to and it just helps you get some stuff out of your system, that's valuable. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been a real pleasure. I'm sorry that I've coincided with you being incredibly unwell, but I'm glad that I could make this time. Yeah, sending you so much love. Take care.